Hello everyone and welcome to another video and welcome to one of the top selling hatchbacks in the European market, and now it makes its entry into the UAE market, which is this Opel Astra. The main question is, does it have what it takes to compete in the crowded hatchback market? So in today's video I'm going to be showing you all the interiors, the exteriors, and we'll be going on a short drive in this Opel Astra. Before we move forward, please consider subscribing to my channel and also make sure to press the bell icon so that you never miss any video updates from my channel. Well, let's kickstart things from the front. So you get this quite unique actually grille design out here with this Opel badging, and then you have this sort of wings that almost go inside into the headlight cluster, and this headlight cluster is an LED headlight cluster and it's got the LED DRLs. At the bottom you would notice like there is like a flap, but there's also an insert near the fog lamps, and these fog lamps are halogen fog lamps. And then this design also continues at the bottom onto the other side. So it's like a very connected one, and at the bottom you would find the parking sensors, and there is also a black diamond roof on top, which is again a part of this particular model. So this particular model is an Opel Astra Elegance Plus. On the sides you get 18-inch black glossy alloy rims, and also the same black side mirrors, which is power foldable. It has blind spot warning system and also power adjustable. I love the whole side profile of this car because the black rims actually enhances the look from the side and really makes this Astra look very sporty. And then you have the normal sort of rubber surround, but on the top you have the shiny plastic trim again for the surround. So you don't actually get any smart keyless entry system, but just the normal entry system. But the door handles are quite big and easy to grab onto. Now in the back you get a complete LED tail light cluster, the Astra badging and also the Opel badging, and there is a shark fin antenna on top, which you can see, and at the bottom a very clean look. Again, I like this rear end of this Astra because look at this, there are no fake vents or nothing. It's just very nicely done bumper, and the exhaust tips are actually, there's single tip which is on the right side behind the bumper, but it's actually quite good, and there are these reflectors in the back, like long ones on both the sides. Now in terms of the visibility, it's actually quite good, and the only issue is that the sun visors, when you put them down, the rear view mirror is actually covered by it, so that is a bit of a visibility issue sometimes when you lower the sun visor. Now in terms of boot space, you will get 370 liters of boot space when the rear seats are in the upright position, and this boot space is actually just a little less than the VW Golf or the Ford Focus, but nonetheless it's actually very flat, although there is a bit of a lip out here in the back, but there are scuff plates so that you don't damage your bumper. And you also get a boot separator. Now this boot separator is pretty easy to remove, like you can just remove these two threads hanging from there and then you can remove it, but there's no space to put this anywhere, so yeah, that will actually consume a bit of your boot space. Now these seats can be folded from very simple buttons given out here, so you can drop them. Let me remove this boot separator, and then you get 1210 liters of boot space, which is actually pretty decent for a hatchback. And the floor is relatively flat, but the seats actually don't fall down completely, but they are a little inclined. But once you put some weight on top of it, then it becomes flat. You also get boot lights in the back and also some tying hooks in the back, and there is a spare wheel that you can use in case there is a puncture, so which is where some of the boot space has been used, but nonetheless it's used for something more purposeful. Well, let me first start off with the key. Now you may wonder why, because you start this car using this key. Now this is something which has been lost, where you just sit and just press the start stop button, but I really sometimes miss the traditional way of starting a car, because let's be honest, you don't forget your key, and also you wouldn't forget that the car is switched off, so and you will always remember where your key was. Now let's first start with the material quality inside this Astra, because it's a mixture of plastic and soft touch plastic and leather. So let's start with the dashboard. You get soft touch dashboard and also the door cards, and also there is this glossy plastic given out here in the door cards and also in the center console, and also even out here in the dashboard itself. And then there are other places at the bottom where they've just given normal plastic. Now in terms of the multi-information display, you get this big information display in the middle, and you have dials on both the sides. This screen shows you a lot of information. So you can start with your speedometer, digital one, which will show you in the center. It will also show you the distance between the cars in the front in terms of the time, and there is also a lane assist, the driver assistant, that it will show you. There's also a timer in case you decide to time the laps, or if you're going around something, then you can time yourself. And also there is tire pressure monitoring system. There is oil life remaining. It will show you fuel, range, trip information, and every single information. You can also access other settings like the audio, the navigation, the phone, and also detailed settings in which you can change the appearance of the dials from the sporty to the touring version, where in the touring version everything becomes simplified and only there is a digital speed shown to you and like a relatively clean look, but I prefer the sporty dials. And also there is more information on both the analog dials. There's a small screen given on both the sides which can again be customized to show you your range and also your fuel economy and everything. Now coming to the steering wheel, this is like a leather covered white stitching steering wheel, and it's got this flat bottom, and in the center you would find again the Opel badging. And this steering wheel is manually adjustable, which is tilt and telescopic. And on the right side you would find the infotainment controls and the controls for your multi-information display in the center, and there is also a volume dial. And on the left side you would find the cruise control and the limiter. So there is also a limiter, the speed limiter feature, which to be honest I extensively use the speed limiter feature, because that is something which it will control your speed instead of switching on the cruise control. By the way, you just get the normal cruise control. The air conditioning system is all controlled by the buttons, and that is such a cool thing because the buttons have all the information marked on them. So there is an on off button, there's an AC, there's also the fan speed button, there's also auto, the direction you want the air to blow in, and also the dual zone button. So this air conditioning system is a dual zone air conditioning system, so you can switch it on and you can control from the driver's side. But there's also the information displayed on the infotainment screen, that is just the information about the air conditioning system. So what temperature, what is the fan speed, and what circulation mode it is on, so that you are not distracted while you are driving. Now coming to the infotainment screen, it's an 8-inch colorful display, which is actually one of the most simplified systems that you will find, because it's got straightforward audio feature, the phone, the navigation is again very easy to use, and there is also user, there's settings, there's Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Now in terms of the connectivity, you can connect to this infotainment system using the Bluetooth, the USB, and also there's Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and also there is an aux cable with which you can plug the audio if you want to hear from the system. There is a swiping feature. When you swipe on the left, you get two split displays where you can use on your right side the navigation system, and on the left side the media controls that you can use, and there are shortcut buttons at the bottom, so which is why it's a very easy to use simplified system. And then there is not much of a fuss, and it's a very fast and intuitive system, I would say. And also the infotainment system is very neatly merged into the dashboard. At the bottom you would find the physical buttons for your media, the infotainment screen, your home button, back button, and to change the track, and also the volume button, which is given in the center along with the power button. And this is so simple. This is how it should be, because the dial has been given right in the center where it should be and where it has to be. Now you also get the sporty alloy pedal set, and you get a big sunroof. But the speciality about the sunroof in this Astra is, so usually when the sunroof opens up, you will see it doesn't open all the way till the back, but in this it actually opens all the way till the back, giving you a very clean look. So and also an openness to the sunroof. So they have utilized every bit of that sunroof space. Now coming to the storage, you can put like 1.5 liters worth of bottle in the door cart. There are two cup holders out here in the center console, and these cup holders are actually not flexible, so they are the fixed ones. So smaller cups may find be a little dangling inside. And also there is a glove box out here which is quite big. There is also center armrest, there is a storage underneath that also, which is like a small storage where you can put your wallets, your phones and everything, and it's also slidable. And there is one more small storage which is given on the driver side where you can put your cards and wallet out here. Now there is a cutout which is given in the dashboard. Now I don't know what you can put inside that, because definitely you cannot put your phone, so maybe your keys or something, but they also have this rubber texture underneath, lined inside them, so that nothing falls off from that. But yeah, it's more or less for your coins and the keys. Now the gear shifter has this information for your parking, reverse, neutral and the drive mode. That plate actually is a bit wobbly, you know, and it's a little like, you know, like loose. Now there are more buttons ahead of the gear shifter for your auto, engine start stop button, and also the lane assist feature, and the lane keep and the lane assist feature, the traction control button, and also this car can park itself on its own, the perpendicular or the parallel parking. But the thing is, it will do most of the times, but sometimes it takes a little while to understand, because this system is actually made for the European market. So in order to get it functional in the UAE market, it needs a bit of a tweak. In terms of the connectivity or charging, you will get two USB ports in the center armrest out here inside, and there is also a 120 watt power socket which is given right next to the cup holders, and that is pretty much it. So there are no USB chargers or 120 watt power sockets for the rear passenger. These seats are a mixture of Alcantara and leather seats, and they have this white stitching on them. But these seats are sporty seats, so they have this side bolsters. These seats are pretty alright in terms of comfort, which is pretty surprising for sporty seats. But the seats are 8-way manually adjustable and 2-way height adjustment, which is electronic, and also 4-way lumbar controls, which is again electronically controllable. And they have this extension for the thigh, which is again 2-way controllable. This is for both the driver and the passenger. Now in order for a hatchback to be a family friendly one, it has to have a lot of space and practicality, and in this Astra all of those boxes are ticked, because you can see there is a lot of space in the back for my knees and also for the headroom. Now there is also a bit of a cutout which is given in the roof, which actually gives me more headroom, so even a 6-foot person can actually sit easily in the rear seats, and that's a pretty clever and neat thinking. And the seats are, both the driver and the passenger seats are actually curved, so they give you that extra knee room. And this seat is actually in my driving position, and also you can slide your feet under the seats, and because these seats are mechanical, which is what gives you that extra sort of room for your legs to stretch on a longer journey. And the usual material quality in the back, you get soft touch plastic in the door cards, and also you can put like half a liter or a small bottle in the door card. Now the middle seat is actually pretty comfortable, because this is one of the comfortable seats that I have sat in pretty much the hatchbacks, and I have done a fair few reviews of the hatchbacks, and in this it's actually quite comfortable to be sitting in the middle seat. And also there is not much of a tunnel that goes in the back. There's like a small one, but it's not a bit of a hindrance that will affect you while sitting in the middle seat. So when you're not going to use this middle row of seat, you have the handrest, and the handrest does not have any cup holders, and also you don't get any USB ports in the back. So this car is something which lacks is this, the charging ports in the back and 2 cup holders out here. Otherwise there are pockets in both the seats, and the seats are again mixture of Alcantara leather and white stitching. And the thing is, 3 fully grown adults may not be able to fit in this one, but if you just squeeze in, then maybe you may accommodate 3 people. But otherwise, for 2 people in the back, it's a very easy, straightforward, sitting position and quite comfortable. Also, you get headrest for the middle row of passenger. Now, in order to open the windows, the buttons are actually mounted a little on the back side. So, it's a bit of a stretch to open the window, but when you manage to open it, it opens completely. So the Opel Astra Elegance Plus comes with a 1.4 liter turbocharged petrol engine that produces 140 brake horsepower and 200 Newton meters of torque. Now this engine is mated to a 6-speed automatic gearbox, and it's a front wheel drive car. So First of all, let me come to the engine, because the engine is actually pretty decent and and pretty crisp delivery. But when it comes to the gearbox, that's where things are a little on the slower end, because if you are in a flowing traffic and you wanna accelerate suddenly, when you press the throttle, so the gearbox takes a little while to respond, and also the gearbox actually takes a while to shift onto the higher gears, or if you want to shift to the lower gears. So it takes a little while to correct or go into that gear. But otherwise, it's a pretty fantastic system, I would say, for an everyday hatchback, because of this combination. Now you will get an efficiency of anywhere between 13 to 14, at least that is what I am getting, because the claimed efficiency is 15.4. The steering setup is actually pretty on point, because I can actually get a lot of feedback from the road surface, and also handling is pretty good and pretty precise. So the car is pretty poised that way when it is on road, and if I want to turn the direction, it responds immediately. Also at higher speeds, it feels pretty stable and planted, and also I get a lot of response from the steering wheel, which is actually pretty good. Now coming to the suspension setup, it's got a softer suspension setup, but that doesn't mean it's got a roll, which is pretty surprising, because it always stays pretty calm and pretty planted to the ground, and yet giving you a very sort of enjoyable drive. And the chassis is actually pretty good for in this new Astra, because you can actually push it like to its limits. I don't know what the limits would be for you, but if you push it to sharper turns or anything, it always remains pretty stable all the time. Now coming to the noise and vibrations, that's where a little bit of improvement would be good, I would say, because at higher speed there's a lot of wind noise and also the tire noise that you would hear from inside the car. But otherwise it's still a decent, it's not that bad when it's very loud, but it's all right. Also, there is no sport mode or anything in this car, although you can put it in the manual mode, but that is pretty much it. Now coming to the brakes, so the brakes are actually, the brake pedal on this Opel Astra is pretty tight, I found, but the braking action is pretty on point. Oh my god, rips your face apart. And this is actually pretty comforting, because it's going to be used as a family hatchback. So the brakes are on point, but the brake travel is pretty small and it's very sensitive. So the moment you step on the pedal, it just grips the brakes, just light dab on the pedal, and it just grips. Now when it comes to the safety system, the Opel Astra is actually recognized for its Euro NCAP safety, and that itself is like a true mark that this is a very safe car. Now Euro NCAP is a private institution that tests these cars for safety. So there are various parameters for the kids, for an adult, for everyone sitting in different positions, and then they are decided out of 5-star rating. So this car gets full 5-star for the safety ratings. You get 6 airbags, 2 for the front driver and the passenger, 2 side airbags again for the driver and the passenger, and 2 curtain airbags in the middle frames. So that is for the rear passenger and pretty much everyone in the car. And also there is ABS system, there is also EBD, there is also traction control system, there is tire pressure monitoring system, and there is a single camera reversing system. Now that single camera reversing system, I found the quality of it to be so good. I haven't seen, there are very few camera systems, reversing camera systems, that I have found to be so good and so crisp. Child ISOFIX points in both the rear seats. So there is only one model currently available in the UAE market, and the price of it is 89,900 dirhams. Now if you ask me, it competes with a lot of premium hatchbacks like the VW Golf, Mazda 3, and also the Ford Focus, and there are other hatchbacks, but then these are the main competitors for it. And when you compare to it, it's actually not a bad option. So the thing with the Opel Astra is that it takes the unassuming role, and it's sort of it keeps its profile very low key without shouting about what it can do and what sort of performance it has got. But it's a very humble car, and the moment you get in, it's very family friendly, where you just get in and you start using the car. And also it's very efficient, it's got the power also, and it's got the comfort, and it's got the practicality. And if you are looking to buy a family hatchback, I think you should seriously consider, although it's just a new entrant, but it's like the top selling hatchback in the European market, and it has to be for a reason that it would take that title. Anyways, that is pretty much it for this video. Give it a thumbs up if you've liked it, and if you want to subscribe to my channel, then you can click here, and if you want to watch more videos, then click here. I shall see you in the next video. Bye bye and take care. That's done.